Ahoy, race fans! Welcome along. The Miami Grand Prix is just moments away. Thanks for hanging out as we bring you all the action here on the Wasted World of Sports. Max Verstappen starting from pole. That's a lot further up the grid, much further up the grid than I would like to see him, quite honestly. That's me personally. Not a fan of Red Bull, not a fan of Max. But here in Australia, we're a very big fan of Oscar Piastri, starting from fourth on the grid. He's got a lot of work to do. Whether or not he can pull off a race victory on this occasion, he might have to settle for fighting just for a podium spot. But you never know. That is the painful thing, but also the beauty of Formula One, isn't it? You just never know. A safety car at the right or wrong time, depending on which side of the fence you're sitting on. And an entire race can change. Just like that. We've seen it happen time and time again. So looking forward to this one. Lando Norris, he's got to get his elbows out. But I've got a sneaky suspicion that Max wins this race. I can't imagine McLaren taking too many chances there on that first corner. And we know that Max is going to go dive bomb. Well, he doesn't have to dive bomb when he's in the lead, but you know what I mean. Max is going to go hard into that first corner. We know that. And I just suspect that McLaren, already leading the championship, they won't want to take the chance of having a driver taken out in corner one. I think they'll be pretty defensive. And Max, with that clean air, will just scoot off into the distance. It'll be like a couple of seasons ago, or the start of last season, and the past few years, won't it? Which, in all honesty, it won't necessarily make for very exciting viewing, but nonetheless, it is what it is. You can't take that pole away from Max. He drove. This is so hard to say, but he drove so well to get that pole position. So, look, should he go on and win the race by a comfortable margin? Unfortunately, we can't say that he doesn't deserve it. But we'll see. As I said, looking for some sort of excitement. Who knows, maybe a little bit of weather. Although it seems pretty clear out there. Not a whole lot on the radar, but something could happen to really spice up this race. Yes. It's bright and early here in Australia, 5:48 a.m. And about 12 minutes from race time. Gamer Mel, ahoy there. Speaking of bright and early, welcome along. More Aussies Never too early for a beer, right? What is it that we say? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 p.m. somewhere. Somewhere in the world. There actually used to be a website dedicated to that. It's 5pmsomewhere.com, I believe it was. And you would jump on there and it would tell you all the places in the world where it is currently 5 p.m. so that you could justify one's drinking habits. It was one of my most visited websites when it existed. The race, not far away, about 10 minutes, then they'll be off and running. For those who follow Wasted World of Sports and maybe aren't that familiar with Formula One, I will tell you we are cheering on the McLarens. We're cheering on Oscar Piastri, the Aussie boy. There's also another Aussie. Jack Doohan is down there in 14th on the grid. It'd be nice if he just finished the race, really. Not a lot's gone his way to start his Formula One career, so hopefully he puts in a nice performance, a nice showing out there in Miami. Hoping things go well there for our Aussie boys. It's funny because when I was growing up and watching Formula One back in the day, my favorite drivers were the likes of Ayrton Senna, Mika Hakkinen. There weren't that many Aussies on the grid back then. Aussies and Kiwis. Liam Lawson's there, of course. Our mates across the ditch. Looking for some excitement into turn one. My prediction for this race. Well, look, if there's no safety cars, if there's no incidents, if there's no wet weather, I've just got a feeling. Look, Max Verstappen's got a new underfloor. Red Bull did bring upgrades to Max's car in this race. Yuki didn't get the upgrade, but there was an underfloor ready for Max, which gave him a little extra downforce. So I think the Red Bull will have the pace today to match McLaren, which suggests to me McLaren won't take any chances. They'll just happily sit back. And if they get a double podium, I think that's what they'll be fighting for. Second and third. Leading the championship, they don't really have to do anything crazy at this point into corner one. Just let Max charge through. And unfortunately, I wish something a little more was on the line, because then Lando might be forced into getting the elbows out and having a go. But yeah, McLaren have shown a tendency to play it safe. We saw that in Japan, where they happily just folded in behind Max. We're happy to take the double podium. I suspect we see the same here, unfortunately. Wayne Stretch, ahoy, mate. Yeah, very early start this race over in Miami. So American time to Australian time. Bright and early here. 5:52 a.m., 8 minutes away from race time. Bring it on. The Miami Grand Prix. I was just saying in Game of Mel there before, it's never too early for a beer, right, Wayne? Now, for some reason on the radar, Pierre Gasly is a long way back. You can see all the other cars bunched up there, but Pierre Gasly seems to be a long way back. I don't know what's happened there. That suggests to me that he is still in the pits. So we'll try and get an update on what's happened there with Pierre Gasly. He is indeed in the pits. There you go. I'm looking at the board. Speaking of the board, let's see. How's this looking? All right. Yeah, that's okay. Gasly is off screen. Oh, absolutely, Wayne. 100%. Humble pie doesn't taste very nice, but yeah, look, sometimes you just got to cop it. You've got to eat it and like it. And I certainly have to eat it. Controversial as it may be, it was nonetheless. And those boys in green just continue to prove me wrong year after year. I've predicted the Graders to get the wooden spoon for about the past 4 seasons in a row. Ever since Wasted World of Sports started. So, yeah, this is our 4th year. So for 4 years straight, I've been predicting the Raiders for the wooden spoon. And sons of bitches, they just keep proving me wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong. And I'll probably pick them for the spoon again next year. Because why? At this point, it's like an inside joke. But yes, Ricky Stewart's done wonders there in Canberra. To be honest, with what he's got available, I stand by my call that on paper, just on paper, the Raiders are the worst squad in the NRL. On paper. They're clearly not the worst squad in practice when you actually get out on the field. Quite the opposite. And Ricky's got them humming along nicely, that's for sure. Who's my favourite in Formula One? Well, at the moment, Aussie boy, so Oscar Piastri and the McLarens. I've long time been a fan of McLaren. Growing up, my favourite driver was Ayrton Senna, like I'm sure a lot of kids at the time. So there's always been a little bit of a soft spot for McLaren, soft spot for Mercedes. So let's go Oscar Piastri for the championship this year. HUD 078, Melbourne did play shit today. They did for very large stretches of it, but yeah, once again, taking absolutely nothing away from the Raiders, who stayed in the fight. Got the job done in Golden Point, controversially as it may be. The race just moments away from the formation lap. And hopefully a very exciting corner 1, but we'll see. It depends on the jump. Lando Norris is not exactly known for his good starts. He's been getting a lot better. That comes with experience, doesn't it? But Kimi Antonelli, he got beaten to the first corner from pole in the sprint race. He starts from 3rd. And I reckon Oscar Piastri will fancy his chances to do the same here in the race and get the jump on Antonelli and up into 3rd spot. And that brings him into contention. If he can get through on that first corner and stick with the front runners, our boy Oscar is in contention. But we'll have to see. It's probably crucial for Piastri's race that he clears Antonelli nice and early. And I really, really do hope that Lando Norris gets the elbows out. I really do. I want to see a battle into the first corner. It'd be so upsetting if McLaren just hang back and let Verstappen run off into the clean air without a fight. Fidzo4, did I watch the sprint race? You had 100 on Lando at 275 and got lucky. Oh, well, Fidzo4, there's somebody who I'm sure loves safety cars. That safety car hit at the perfect time for Lando, didn't it? So yeah, I was checking that out. Oscar had that sprint firmly in control, and then boom, safety car. And that's what I was talking about at the top of the stream, isn't it? Anything can happen. A safety car here, a little bit of rain there. And perhaps Max and Red Bull won't have it all their own way. It's just a sneaky suspicion. What does everybody else think? What do you reckon in the chat room? Do you think I'm right? I think that McLaren play it safe. They'll play it safe into corner 1. I mean, Piastri will... I'd say Piastri's more likely to have a go at Antonelli than Lando is to have a go at Max in the first corner. Twice in the last 2 sprints in Miami, safety car helped Lando. Yes, indeed. He loves it here in Miami. Is there a casino in Miami? He should go to the casino. I mean, not that he needs to. What's he on? 7 or 8 million a year? Probably. Maybe more. He doesn't need the casino. Not like us everyday schlubs. So I do have a Quinella for this one. My Quinella is Verstappen, Norris, Piastri in any order. It's not a big payout by any stretch of the imagination, but a payout nonetheless. Should it come off? Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, that's my podium. They can finish in any order, and that is a win for me. But I'll be perfectly honest, should Max Verstappen crash out and hit a wall at any point, I won't be disappointed. Not in the slightest. Bids, if Oscar gets Antonelli early, you think he'll win? That'd be nice. But yeah, absolutely. Piastri has to clear Antonelli nice and early as they're off for the formation lap. If he gets Antonelli early, it certainly brings Oscar into contention. Most likely a one-stop race. Is Pierre Gasly still in the bloody pits? Okay. I'm assuming that Gasly is starting from the pit lane. Or... okay, it doesn't say anything about him being out of the race. Okay, no, he's out now. Okay, off he goes. He was just hanging around in the pit lane. He's out on the track now, Pierre. I hadn't had any update about that. Start of the race, not far away here. Formation lap. And we'll see. I'm trying to get up on the screen here. Our 1, 2, 3. Let's get our race leaders up. Verstappen, of course, starting from pole. And fingers crossed that we don't just have him drive off into the distance. It's that upgrade, really, the Max Verstappen upgrade. That new floor that he's got for this race weekend. It gives him that extra little jump on the McLarens. And keeping him in contention. Go. And get rid of that spam that's popped up in the YouTube chat. There we go. And into formation they go. Ready for lights out. Looking forward to this one. Come on, Oscar. Let's get it done. Cheering on our Aussie boys nice and early here in Australia. As the last of the cars slot in behind. And it is Lights out, and off we go, and Verstappen gets a great jump. He will be leading into the first corner. Antonelli starts well. Piastri's going to have a jump at him. Piastri goes straight up the inside, and if he's got the grip, he will hold his position. Antonelli scoots through, though, around the outside. Antonelli, though, drops back, takes on Max Verstappen. Verstappen has the pace, and Max Verstappen holds the lead. Kimi Antonelli has started extremely well. Lessons were obviously learned from the sprint race, and the McLarens have dropped back. Norris, who went off track, finds himself all the way down in 6th. Well, we were talking about Lando and his poor starts, and he's off to another one. Piastri's up on the podium for the time being, but Norris has run off track and finds himself down in 6th position. Kimi Antonelli, though, got a great jump off the line, and he is slotted in behind Max Verstappen here, who cruises off in the clean air, just as we suspected. And I'm afraid it's just going to be the Max Verstappen show from here on in, unless there is a very big incident and we get a safety car, as he's already opened up a clean DRS advantage. Piastri has got Antonelli in his sights. Antonelli positions the car right in the middle of the track and holds him off for the time being, but Piastri holding himself in DRS range. Well, Lando Norris, we talked about it. And the poor guy, he just can't get off to a good start, can he? He can't buy a good race start at this point. And Kimi Antonelli with a little lock-up, and that brings Oscar Piastri right on his tail. In 3rd place there. He's only half a second back. Max Verstappen opens up a 1.5 second lead out of the front. And with that clean air, the Red Bull, as a virtual safety car has been deployed. It's only a virtual safety car. Means that the cars have to continue around at a steady pace. And there's the reason for it. Jack Doohan. Jack Doohan is off the track and out of the race. Jack Doohan. Another DNF for Aussie Jack. Well, this is an opportunity now to go ahead and get... Let's get our 1, 2, 3 up on the screen. There we go. We can see the official time in there. Max Verstappen, almost 2.5 seconds now that he's opened up on Kimi Antonelli. It comes back down to 1.5 now. Max obviously punched on a little bit from the virtual safety car. Wolfie, ahoy, mate. Have I got the Warriors or the Rockets? I've got the... What the hell are you talking about? Oh, is that NBA, is it? NBA. There you go. That's why I didn't know what you were talking about. Bad. My bad. Lap 3 of 57. Virtual safety car has been deployed for Jack Doohan, who finds himself off the track and out of the race. So not good news there for one of the Aussie lads. Quentin Paul, ahoy, mate. And I wonder if the stewards are going to have a look at that first corner contact. Well, not contact, but was Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, sorry. Was Lando pushed off the track? There might be a little bit more that we hear about that. Oscar Piastri in 3rd. Poor Lando from 2nd on the grid down to 6th. And I've just got a sneaky suspicion this was only a virtual safety car, but I've got a feeling that we will at some point see full safety car conditions. The way that this race has started anyway suggests that we will at some point. Virtual safety car is ending. Verstappen, 1.5 seconds clear from Antonelli. Green flag, and off he goes. Verstappen puts the foot down the main straight. Antonelli and Piastri close behind. DRS has been enabled. Quentin Paul, you've got Max to lead the first 5 laps. Well, I'll tell you what's devastating for me, because I had a Quinella, or not a Quinella, a trifecta. Any order, Verstappen, Piastri, Norris for the podium. And Lando could still get himself up. Absolutely could still get himself up onto the podium. But it does look like it's going to be the Max Verstappen show here in Miami, opening up that 1.5 second lead as Oscar has a go at Antonelli, and Piastri glides past up into second place. And he's also got himself just within DRS range of Max Verstappen. Oscar could do this. He drops back out now, but he is holding that gap to Max. And he's going to keep Verstappen very honest throughout the course of the rest of the race here. Lando Norris has also jumped ahead of Alexander Albon. And after that poor start where he went off track, he's recovered a position up into 5th spot now. 4 laps of 57. Plenty of time left for anything to happen in this race. It's Verstappen from Piastri and Antonelli. And Piastri, I tell you, is only 1.2 seconds back. And I'm backing him in here. Antonelli clinging on to DRS range here in behind Oscar. Robert M, ahoy mate. Carl, thank you very much for the heart me. Carl says, come on, George. George Russell at the moment in 4th. Just quietly going about his business, George Russell. Right at the moment. Quietly cruising along. Robert M's asking how Max is going. Max is flying out there in front in the clean air. But Oscar Piastri, who has cleared the pack from 4th, finds himself right on his tail. Back within DRS range here, Piastri. Max has obviously been harvesting that battery, because every time Piastri creeps into DRS range, Max hits that button and pulls himself back out to a 1.1, 1.3 second lead. He's got a very, very fast sector there, Max Verstappen. And he's maintaining that 1.5 second lead or thereabouts. Antonelli has now dropped out of DRS range, and he is in the sights of his teammate, George Russell. Russell in 4th, eyeing off a podium spot. DRS on Kimi Antonelli, who got off to a fantastic start. Antonelli actually almost led the race after the first couple of corners. He got such a good jump. The team have just got onto the radio and let Fernando Alonso know possible rain in 20 laps. And I tell you what, the way that it's going at the moment, the rain might just save us from a Max Verstappen 57-lap lead win. And I've got to say, that would be mighty nice. It's Verstappen from Piastri and Antonelli holding off George Russell for now. That is our top 3. Carl says George has been doing really well this year. Consistently solid races. And that's George, isn't it? That's Liam Lawson. You can see on the track there, Liam Lawson finds himself a long way behind the pack. Fragile Goose, ahoy. Welcome along. I wonder what happened there to Lawson. He's a long way back. He was involved in that incident that brought out the virtual safety car, I believe, with Jack Doohan. So it is possible that he had to jump into the pits there, and I missed it at some point. Robert M says, I'd like to see Oscar win. and Max comes second. I'd be okay with that, as Piastri's on the radio. Does Verstappen have damage or a penalty? Not yet, but they're looking at it, Oscar. They're looking at the turn 2 incident. Now, obviously, Oscar's on the radio finding out, how hard do I have to push this to try and track down Max? Or do I just need to sit back because he's got a penalty incoming at some point? So George is Mr. Consistency, isn't he? As Lando Norris has got within DRS range and jumps ahead of George Russell. Norris is now into 4th, 1.5 seconds behind Antonelli, and tracking him down at a rate of knots. And I tell you what, my bet of Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, podium in any order is looking very solid at the moment. It's been a good recovery drive from Lando after he got off to that really poor start. 7 laps in of 57. It's Verstappen from Piastri, from Antonelli. But Lando Norris is flying. Lando is now just outside DRS range on Kimi Antonelli. And that gap from Verstappen to Piastri at the front is just consistently hovering around 1.1, 1.4 seconds. And Norris now creeping inside DRS range. Kimi Antonelli will be doing very well here to hold on. Carl says Lando's starts are what cost him the championship, 100%. We were talking about it at the top of the stream. Lando Norris has a history of really poor starts. Lap 8 out of 57. And it's Max Verstappen out in the clean air. Cruising along at the moment, just maintaining that lead over Oscar Piastri. Piastri's been on the radio. Try and find out how hard he has to push. And there is a review of Max Verstappen on turn 2, an incident that forced Lando Norris off track. Norris only half a second back from Antonelli now, and he has DRS. Piastri got himself within DRS range of Max Verstappen. That's going to make things very interesting. Verstappen's been harvesting, though. Harvesting that battery, and he opens up a 1-second lead again. Lando Norris right on Antonelli's tail. The rear wing opens. He's not close enough to have a dive this time, but maybe on the next lap, because he will be tightly following Antonelli around for the next lap or two if he can't get him. Here we go. Down the main straight. Norris is a little too far back on this occasion, but he is keeping himself within that DRS zone. And he might just have him in the next couple of laps. Carl asks what my opinions are on Max's sprint start yesterday. Honestly, look, I'm not a fan of Red Bull. I'm not a fan of Max. So my opinion may be a little slanted. But it seemed like it was a slam dunk penalty for the grid start. If it was a penalty against Lando the race week before, it seemed like a slam dunk on this occasion. And any time that we see Max finish outside the points is a good time. Piastri pushes himself within DRS range again. And we've had a spin. Fernando Alonso, he stays on track, gets himself going again, though. Piastri is right on Verstappen's tail now. The fight is on for the lead. Down the main straight, Piastri, the DRS wide open. And Max holds him off for now. He would have been harvesting that whole time to put the defense on. And Fernando there with the spin. Did well to get himself going again there, Fernando Alonso. Ten laps down. Here we go again. Piastri's got DRS on Verstappen. Heads to the outside. Verstappen moves across and shuts down that move. But Piastri gets a good exit from the corner. And he is right on Verstappen's tail here. Through the chicanes they go. And Piastri putting all sorts of pressure on Verstappen here. Come on, Oscar. Lando Norris up into third spot. Verstappen moves to the center of the track, cuts him off again. Another solid exit from Piastri. Down the main straight. Is he close enough? DRS opens up. Oscar moves to the outside. And Verstappen's got enough pace to hold the inside line and keeps himself ahead. How long can this fight go on, though? Max has obviously been harvesting that battery to perfection. And he's able to put in a very solid defense. Piastri, half a second back as he harvests to give himself a little extra speed the next time around. 11 laps out of 57 done. Probably a one-stop race unless there is a perfectly timed safety car. DRS again. Piastri jumps to the outside. Max holds the inside line again. Side by side, they go around the corner. Piastri pulls out. Well defended by Verstappen once more. It is still Verstappen leading from Piastri. Piastri stays right on his tail, though. And Lando Norris 3 seconds back in third spot. Breaks away from the two Mercedes. Kimi Antonelli and George Russell in fourth and fifth. The rear wings open again here for Piastri. Putting all sorts of pressure on Verstappen. How much life is in that battery? How much life is in both their batteries? Oscar, of course, the advantage of DRS. Piastri just falls in line behind Max here. Almost dropping out of DRS range. Max has put the foot down. Piastri falling back. Outside DRS range now. Piastri just being mindful here of this fight. Trying not to overdo things. He had his chance. He had a lot of DRS attacks there at Max, and you've got to give credit where credit is due. Max held him off, positioned the car perfectly in the center of the track. And Piastri, he'll just be harvesting, keeping himself within touching distance, harvesting that battery to give himself an extra little push. And he's back within DRS range now. Lando Norris was 3 seconds behind, is now 2.5 back. And that just suggests that Piastri took the foot off the gas a little bit. Back in DRS range on Verstappen. He should open up that lead on Lando once again. Verstappen's on the radio. Super slippery to drive, he says. As Piastri's right on his tail again. Let the battle recommence. Let the battle recommence. Verstappen on the medium tyre. Piastri's on the mediums as well. So they'll likely pit around the same time. Do McLaren attempt an undercut? Bring Lando in. Do McLaren pit Lando first and try and get the jump on Verstappen? Glenn Hampson says anyone but freaking Max. Yes. Oh, Glenn. I think we just became best friends. Glenn, I can't stand Red Bull or Max. Razor994, ahoy, mate. Good morning. Yes, indeed. Cheering on Oscar Piastri here. Bright and early, 6:23 a.m. here in Australia. Dave Campbell says rain perhaps in 5 laps. And that has been some of the chatter on the team radios. Rain is expected around lap 14 to 20. Piastri opens up the rear wing again. And Verstappen goes very wide out of the exit of that turn. Now, Oscar's got his best chance of the race yet, heading down the main straight. Right on Max's tail. Shifts to the outside. The rear wing's wide open. And Oscar Piastri glides past around the outside. Max dive bomb up the inside and off track. Oscar Piastri's into the lead. Suck on that, Max. Typical Max Verstappen, dive bombing hard down the inside, and he went too hard. Straight off track, and Piastri says, thank you very much. Now he puts the hammer down. Oh, no, sorry, that's somebody else. Now he puts the foot down and looks to break out of DRS range, and does. Verstappen falls back out of DRS, and he is now in the targets of Lando Norris. Lando Norris has got DRS on Max. Max does not have DRS on Oscar. And Verstappen, he is under threat now from Piastri's teammate Lando Norris. Verstappen's on the radio, swearing his head off again, blaming his brakes for his poor driving. 1.2 seconds out in the lead, Oscar Piastri from Verstappen, and Norris within DRS here on lap 14. Here comes Lando Norris. The rear wing's open, and he is now right on the tail of Verstappen. Has a look down the outside, gets a much better exit out of the turn, and this is a big opportunity now for Lando. For a McLaren 1-2 down the main straight. The exact same move that Piastri did. Lando's got the outside. Max down the inside. Lando holds his line and loses some time there around the outside. Verstappen holds him off for now, but he'll get another go. Norris will get another shot here. Still within DRS range and in the clean air. Oscar Piastri is just flying out in the lead. That was a beautiful move there. The replay just shown of Oscar Piastri making that jump on Max Verstappen, forcing him into a mistake. 3 seconds. The clean air has just opened up this race for Oscar Piastri, our Aussie boy. Verstappen's on the radio again. He was not ahead. Having a whinge as always. Lap 15 of 57. And Oscar, he's put the foot down. He is way out in front. And Norris will have another crack here. DRS on Max Verstappen. Into another DRS zone. Live Drivers' Championship has Piastri at the moment extending his lead on Lando Norris. Norris has a look out the outside. Verstappen far enough ahead to maintain second spot for now. Molly, ahoy there, Molly. How did Oscar get in front? He pulled off a beautiful move. He went on the outside down the main straight. Max Verstappen dive bombed up the inside to try and maintain his position. Locked up and went off track for an easy pass. And Max is now well within the target of Lando Norris in the battle for second spot. Rear wings open. Here comes Lando. Has a look on the outside. Max moves across to cover him off. Another good exit from Lando. A much better exit for the McLaren. But he falls in line, does Lando Norris, and has to settle for third once more. Verstappen's back on the radio. Everything is just everywhere, just all over the shop, he says. Jeez, he wasn't complaining bloody 10 laps ago, was he? But he was 2 seconds out in front. He's certainly having a whinge around every corner now. Lap 16 of 57. Lando is very, very close now on Max's tail as we come to the main straight. Max covers off the middle of the track. Lando has a look on the outside. Nowhere to go on this occasion. But he'll get another shot soon. And there is the radar, the rain. That is actually a huge, huge rain cloud that is starting to move. As now Norris with DRS wide open has the outside. Oh, that's a replay. Never mind. That was showing as a replay. They tricked me. Cheeky buggers. Razor994 says Max driving is all over the shop. Both drivers off track. Lando Norris and Max Verstappen both off track, and Lando goes through. Norris moves through into second place. Well, they'll need to show us a replay of that as Max Verstappen locks up again. Verstappen locks up again. He's within DRS. He could take this place straight back. Potentially. Things are spicing up here in the battle for second place. Verstappen dives down the inside and he reclaims second place. Just a little bit of a slide from Lando Norris there on the corner exit, but he'll have DRS straight back. Here he comes now. Lando's right on his tail. Max moves across and covers off the middle of the track. Great exit from Norris though, and he'll go again. Oscar, in the meantime, 8.5 seconds ahead as these two battle it out for second place. Oscar Piastri is just dominating this race out there in the clean air. From, where was he? 4th or 5th on the grid he started. From 4th or 5th on the grid, Oscar Piastri has put on a hell of a drive as Lando Norris has another look down the inside. Breezes past Max Verstappen. Leads into the apex. And he has enough grip to hold on and scoot through. Clear into second place. Lando Norris up into second. Looking to clear the DRS zone. He can't get far enough ahead. Molly is asking if Norris or Max got a penalty. I don't believe so. Nothing yet. There's an investigation from the start on turn 2, but there's been no updates yet that I've heard. As Piastri, almost 9 seconds clear out in front. Max Verstappen with DRS gets himself a little closer now to Lando Norris again. That battle will continue. And that battle will continue for another few laps at the very least. 19 laps of 57. It's Piastri from Norris, from Verstappen. Oh, Max has gone all the way off track there. Let's see what he says on radio. He went off himself while driving me off track. So I need that position back. What? The position that you didn't even have, Max? But anyway, Max ultimately did get the position back. And Lando took him straight back on the next DRS zone. So 19 laps of 57 done. It is Piastri. 9 seconds clear out in the lead. He's been enjoying this battle for second place because Norris and Verstappen, the longer that they fight, the further ahead Oscar is going to get out in the race lead. And Verstappen now drops 1.5 seconds back. George Russell is on the radio to inform the team that it is raining. 19 laps in, and we're starting to see some rain out on track. Those pit stops will not be far away. Will it rain heavily enough? Will it rain long enough for the teams to jump onto inters? Razor994 says, you've had a big weekend, Dan, with the Magic Round games and now F1. Looking forward to a few days off. Mate, this is what I do for a living now. I quit my job last year to do full-time streaming. So, yeah, there's no days off just yet. We're actually launching a new podcast later tonight that's going to be all about professional wrestling. But there'll be a formal announcement about that later tonight. Starting up a brand new channel, a weekly professional wrestling podcast to go with our Wasted World of Sports family here. All right. The pit stops starting to come into play now. Bortoletti. Or Bortoletto. What's his name? Bortoletto? Bortoletti? Something like that. I should know. My bad. He's jumped into the pits anyway from down in 18th place. "20 laps in. It's Piastri, 9.5 seconds out in the lead from Lando Norris. And Norris now has broken almost 3 seconds clear of Max Verstappen. Sabaton Liam, ahoy, mate. And thank you very much for the heart puff over there on TikTok. No further investigation between Norris and Verstappen for leaving the track. So there we go. No penalty for Lando or Max. Lance Stroll into the pits from down in 18th spot. 21 laps of 57 down. Ah, man. I'm almost out of beer. I'll have to hop out to the fridge in a second. Grab some more. It is Oscar Piastri. 9 seconds from Lando Norris, who is 3.5 from Max Verstappen. And Kimi Antonelli in amongst all that, by the way. We've been so focused on that battle for second place. Kimi Antonelli and George Russell, they have not fallen too far out of reach. Antonelli is only 2 seconds back from Max, and George Russell and a further 1.5 seconds back from him. So let's not count out the Mercedes drivers just yet. Sabaton Liam and Toxigamer is still coming back, but it's definitely still happening. It's just in terms of the things that I'm starting in 2025, it's lower on the list than this new podcast, if that makes sense. So it's still happening. It just might still be a couple of months away. No, not on the back burner. On the back burner, in my opinion, makes it sound forgotten. It's definitely still happening. It's just not happening as early on in the year as I was anticipating. But all the plans are still in place. It's just a matter of when. As Lewis Hamilton here from 11th has a look on the outside of Esteban Ocon. Ocon fights him towards the outside. Wheel to wheel. They go around. Ocon on the medium compound. Has a little bit of extra grip there on the inside. And he holds off Lewis Hamilton for now. Hamilton, though, the attack is still on. DRS wide open. He'll have another look here on Esteban Ocon. Down the inside goes Hamilton, or around the outside rather, and a clean pass there on Esteban Ocon. Hamilton up into 10th place. Ocon will have a chance to come back at him, but only one down this main straight. Ocon has the DRS, but I dare say he won't be able to stick with him as Hadjar into the pits from 13th place. Onto the hard tyre goes Isaac Hadjar. Molly says, come on, Norris. Pretty one. Ahoy there, pretty one. What's the DRS? So in Formula One racing, pretty one, the DRS, if you're within 1 second of the driver ahead of you, you can use the DRS, the drag reduction system, which gives you a little bit of an extra pace advantage. And there's designated areas on the track where you're allowed to use it if you are within 1 second of the car ahead. And they open up the rear wing and get a huge pace advantage to assist with overtaking. As Oscar Piastri is indeed flying, but Lando's cut him down a little bit. Piastri was almost 9.5 seconds clear at one point. Norris has pulled him back to 8.7, but I dare say Piastri is doing some race management out there at the front. Some tyre management. Trying to extend his stint as long as possible. I mean, they'll be trying to wait it out and see what happens with the rain here, I'm sure. Fastest lap for Piastri in amongst all that as Norris has closed the gap a little bit. But Piastri goes ahead and sets the fastest lap of the race. Enjoying himself out there in the clean air. To think that Max Verstappen was ahead at one point, clear from the DRS zone. Oscar Piastri started in 4th, and Oscar is now 15 seconds clear of Max Verstappen. That's the gap between 1st and 3rd. Been a hell of a drive from our boy Oscar. Any other Aussies in the chat room? Just out of curiosity, how many fellow Aussies have I got out there? Razor994, I'm Aussie. Molly's English. Dave Campbell, Aussie. Gabby Marsh, Aussie. James from the Gold Coast, nice. Not far at all from me, James, up here in Brisbane. AU KJ, another Aussie. I love it. I'm assuming then that we're all cheering on Oscar Piastri. Who leads the race quite comfortably at the moment. Of course, 2 seconds. I got to grab myself another beer. Bugger it. I'll just get myself the whole 6-pack. Then I don't have to leave the room again. For those who may be new to the Wasted World of Sports, welcome along. We are live on YouTube, live on TikTok, and live on Twitch. And we bring you alternative commentary and watch-alongs of Formula One, Rugby League, Rugby Union, and some cricket. So for those who are new to myself, my name's Dan, and it's very nice to have you along here joining me to watch this race. Mr. Ed's dead. Ahoy, mate. Peace. Norris is on the radio. Possible light drops of rain for the next 2 laps. In turn 17, mostly. So, there you go. There's the little update on the rain. Razor994 says, poor Doohan. Just can't catch a break. Jack Doohan, of course, the other Aussie boy, already out of this race. And Kimi Antonelli's into the pits. Kimi Antonelli, the first of, you would say, that leading pack to jump into the pits. Carlos Sainz is also in the pits. Antonelli. A 4.4 second stop time, and out he comes. And Red Bull, take notes. That's how you do a clean release from the pit lane, by the way. Razor994 says, you happy with the Oz election results, Dan? Honestly, Razor, I don't do politics. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't even vote. My personal opinion is we're screwed either way, so who cares? I realize that's a pretty depressing outlook, but yeah, honestly, I couldn't take time away from Magic Round. I was live streaming all the action from Magic Round, so if they hit me up and say, why didn't you vote? I'll say, I was working, because I really was. This is my job, of course, going live and calling sports on social media, so it's my primary source of income. This is my job. So I can safely say, yeah, sorry about that, but I was working. Max Verstappen comes into the pits. Here's the shake-up that we were looking for. Realizing that they're big time on the back foot here, Red Bull have pulled the trigger, and Max Verstappen is the first into the pits. On goes the hard tire. And Alexander Albon's in, not far behind him. Now, what do the McLarens do? Do they respond? 27 laps of 57. Piastri and Norris, both on the medium compound. George Russell's on the hard. He's up into third spot now. There we go. Verstappen comes out just ahead of Kimi Antonelli and into 7th place. And he is within the DRS range of Lewis Hamilton. Bring on that old school rivalry, huh? Hamilton versus Verstappen. We got a taste of it in the sprint race. We're about to get another little taste now of that old rivalry. As Verstappen, on the fresher set of tyres, of course, should breeze past Lewis Hamilton, who's still on the old hards, yet to come into the pits. 28 laps of 57 down. Verstappen with the DRS open, right on the tail of Lewis Hamilton here. Max jumps to the inside and breezes past on those fresh tyres. It wasn't even a contest. And up into 6th goes Max Verstappen. So, let's keep an eye on that gap. George Russell is 21.5 seconds almost back from Piastri in the lead. Tsunoda now out of the pit lane, switching onto his hard compound tyres. When do the McLarens respond? Are they perhaps looking for rain to strike? Are they just trying to hold on for as long as possible and see what happens with that rainfall? Ollie Behrman's off the track. Ollie Behrman's still going. And back onto the race course he goes there. Ollie Behrman in the Haas. Honestly, does anybody play the F1 manager games? Ollie Behrman may or may not be a multiple-time world champion in my playthrough. He's going very slowly here, and this could potentially be a safety car. McLaren have raced out into the pit lane in preparation. Oh, no. They've already gone past. Now, Ollie Behrman is just crawling around the track, and this is now a big threat of a safety car. Ferrari out into the pit lane. The hard tyres at the ready for Charles Leclerc. Virtual safety car is called. There we go. It is not a full safety car. Hamilton's into the pits. Ollie Behrman's done extremely well there to just crawl around and find himself a safe spot to exit the track. And the virtual safety car is called. That would have been disastrous to McLaren's race. Well, I mean, they would have been able to jump in and get a pit stop, I suppose, under the safety car. But honestly, Oscar Piastri's opened up such a lead out at front. A full safety car would be terrible for him. Norris is told to box. Lando's going to box here under the virtual safety car conditions. Now, he's had some luck with safety cars this weekend. The worst possible result here would be if the virtual safety car ends right when he jumps into the pit lane. He's had a lot of safety car luck. Piastri's told to box as well. They're going to bring them both in. McLaren looking to pit under the virtual safety car. How is this going to work out for them? McLaren are doing the double stack. Charles Leclerc's been called in. The worst thing that could happen for all these teams is the virtual safety car to just end right when they dive in. It's still going and into the pits. Piastri. That is a beautiful pit stop. And away he goes. Now Lando not far behind. And McLaren have pulled this off perfectly. They have pulled it off perfectly. Pats on the back all around from the McLaren pit crew. Because they have done this to perfection. And both their drivers now under the virtual safety car will re-enter the race. 1 and 2. 30 laps of 57 done. Virtual safety car is still going. So George Russell has jumped in now as well as Charles Leclerc. Virtual safety car's ending. Okay, so Leclerc, who dived into the pits there. It might not have worked out too well for him as Russell now exits the pit lane ahead of Verstappen. George Russell holds on to third spot. That has worked out very well for Mercedes. George Russell will have Verstappen with those tyres fired up within DRS range, but George Russell with a much fresher compound. Russell re-enters the race in third. Charles Leclerc comes out in seventh. That could not have gone any better for McLaren and for the Mercedes of George Russell. Bortoletto's on the radio saying his engine is failing and he can't drive like this. Oh, God. Now, don't bring out a safety car. My goodness. Well, that worked out brilliantly there for McLaren. Pitting, double stacking almost under the virtual safety car. They essentially got a free pit stop there, basically. They basically got a free pit stop. Brilliant strategy. Executed to perfection. And now the drivers leading the race. Position 1 or 2. 1 and 2. Sorry, not 1 or 2. 1 and 2. Of course, lap 31 of 57. It's Piastri. 7.5 seconds from Norris, who is 16 seconds up from Russell. And Russell, on the fresh tyres, has opened up an almost 2-second advantage from Max Verstappen in fourth. Max Verstappen, Tsunoda has been noted for speeding in the pit lane. So there you go. Speeding in the pit lane. Yuki Tsunoda. Lap 31 of 57. Oh, I do apologize, TikTok. I've just realized the logo is covering up our lap data there. My apologies. Lap 32 of 57. And let's go ahead and do something about that, shall we? Okay, well, that didn't quite work. That didn't quite work. Okay. Let's get that sorted. Oopsie. Oh, God. Well, I've just made an even bigger mess, haven't I? Anyway, it's lap 32 of 57. That, I'm afraid, is my bad. I usually do have the top 3 up there. can't see the bloody screen. Oh, Hamilton is charging through. Okay, there we go. Oh, God. That'll do. I'm sorry that it's not perfect, but that will have to do for now. I don't know at what point during the race that got covered up. Jeez. Come on, where's my transformation box? There we go. It is Oscar Piastri who leads from Lando Norris and George Russell. They got themselves essentially a free pit stop under the virtual safety car conditions. There we go. Lap 33 of 57. Virtual safety cars out again. Bortoleto, who was on the radio complaining about potential engine failure, and there he is. Virtual safety car once again here on lap 33. Bortoleto has found a safe spot to exit. And another virtual safety car. Our second in rather quick succession. Razor 994 says Stroll only gains possessions when other cars DNF. Didn't Lance Stroll in the last race weekend just break the record for most Q1 exits or something like that? Something like that, wasn't it? The most Q1 exits in the history of Formula One. Something like that, I'm pretty sure happened. Virtual safety car conditions here. It is the two McLarens out in front. A very comfortable lead. George Russell, 31 seconds back. Virtual safety car ending. Green flag, and away we go, racing again. Now, unless there is a full safety car or just a sudden downpour of rain, the McLarens are just cruising away to victory here on their fresh, hard tires. Here's a battle now between Leclerc and Sainz. Sainz goes through on the outside. Leclerc comes back at him, but Sainz holds position. But no chance here down the main straight as Leclerc opens up the DRS and has the inside line. Goes wide, and through goes Lewis Hamilton, but Leclerc holds him off. Both Ferraris go past Carlos Sainz. And that was a fun little battle down there in 7th and 8th spot. Lewis Hamilton, the experienced campaigner, was just holding back, waiting for his moment, watching his teammate battle Carlos Sainz up front, and had a great opportunity to jump down the inside by Charles Leclerc. Molly, you had hope for Lando, but you don't think he's going to make it. Yeah, I don't think so. 7.2 seconds back in second place. It'd take a hell of an effort from here. Or a big mistake or mechanical failure from Oscar Piastri, of course. It's another possibility. I don't want to jinx it. "35 laps of 57 down." And it is, geez, Max Verstappen starting in pole position will not be happy that he is off the podium right now and 3.5 seconds almost back from George Russell. And Russell's on the medium tire. Now, Russell is too far back, I dare say. 26 seconds back from the race lead. He's a little too far back, I would say, but on that medium compound, he's making time. I just wonder if George Russell will have enough pace, if there'll be enough pace in the Mercedes, the faster compound. Does he have enough time to maybe have a little bit of a go at the end of the race here? Or will the medium tire not hold up as well as the hard? Maybe he struggles at the end of this race. We'll see. Lap 36 of 57. And it is just the McLaren show at the moment. Oscar Piastri's having a hell of a drive. Now, Lando Norris got off to a very bad start. Once again, missed the jump. And going off track in turn 2, lost about 4 places. Fell all the way down to 6th place. So he's done very well to find himself back on the podium in 2nd place. And Oscar Piastri took full advantage of those early mistakes. And up he is now comfortably out in the lead. Lewis Hamilton on the medium, Charles Leclerc on the hard tire, and Hamilton's been on the radio saying, if you keep me behind Charles Leclerc here, I'm just burning up my tires. Maybe it's time to let me through. George Russell there got the free pit under the virtual safety car. He's opened up a 3-second lead on Max Verstappen. And Alexander Albon. Let's appreciate Alexander Albon, who has also pitted. And Albon in the Williams, holding on to 5th spot. That's a hell of an effort. 20 laps remaining. And it's a very comfortable race at the moment. Razor994 says, it's nice to see Williams doing well. Absolutely. I used to love those old Williams cars, the old sort of blue, that really deep dark blue and white design. Hamilton's on the radio again. You want me to just sit here the whole race? He's not happy, Lewis. He's on the fresh medium tires. Charles Leclerc's on the hard. And Lewis wants to get past to put the hammer down. But the team's having nothing to do with that. I've just dropped my remote. Dropped my remote and now I've lost the battery as well. So that's fun. Oh well. Chloe! Ahoy, Chloe! Come on, Piastri, bring it home. Yes! Bring it home, Oscar. 6.6 seconds ahead of his teammate Lando Norris. And a further 21 seconds ahead from George Russell in 3rd. McLaren really benefiting from that free pit stop under the virtual safety car. And absolutely their race to lose. Oh, Lewis Hamilton is not happy. Lewis Hamilton's not happy. He's been told on the radio, keep the DRS to Charles, go ahead like this. They put Hamilton on the fresh medium tires just to keep him behind Leclerc on hards. And Hamilton is just like, man, you guys. Silly. Absolutely silly. Ollie Behrman out of the race. Wandering down the pit lane, a very despondent looking Ollie Behrman. Hamilton's back on the radio. This is not good teamwork. That's all I'm going to say. Liam Lawson's into the pit lane. And I've got to say, Lewis has got a very, very valid point there. Very valid point. What was the purpose of having a strategy that sees Lewis Hamilton on the faster compound? All right, now they've told him to swap positions. That makes a lot more sense. I was going to say, what was the point of Ferrari having Hamilton on the faster compound at the end of the race if they were just going to say, stay behind Leclerc? That makes no sense. That is just Ferrari being Ferrari. Ferrari with their very bizarre strategy calls. They've finally made the right decision now, and they've told the drivers to swap. And Hamilton's gone through and already opened up a 1.5 second lead on Charles Leclerc. That tells you all you need to know about whether or not Hamilton's on a faster race pace. He clearly is. All right, now what am I doing here? Yes, I dropped my remote. I'm going to have to use my phone as the remote control from here on in for the rest of the race. Which is okay. It's absolutely fine. Lap 40 of 57. Piastri from Norris from Russell. And that's all looking pretty comfy at the moment. I'm going to have a quick break and be right back. All right. 40 laps in, 57 lap race. McLaren easily holding on to 1-2. Hamilton back on the radio. And Lewis is understandably not happy. He is letting the team know about that. I mean, that is such a Ferrari thing to do, right? Ferrari, very well known for their interesting strategy calls. They took an eternity to swap the cars over. And all that was happening was Hamilton was chewing up his fresh medium tires, sitting in behind Charles Leclerc. "41 laps down. Verstappen closing up a little bit on George Russell, but probably not enough. And not a happy camper there. Not a happy camper. Leclerc's on the radio now. I need Lewis to go faster. I've just got 38. Oh, there is some internal damage here at Ferrari. Lewis is not happy, and now Charles Leclerc not happy. It'll be interesting to see what goes on there. 41 laps of 57 down. And I just wonder if maybe, just maybe, they had have swapped those positions earlier, as they should have done, if they'd be having these issues now. Just Ferrari doing Ferrari things, right? Gasly has been noted for a yellow flag infringement. So there we go. Carlos Sainz, yellow flag infringement. Stroll in last place. Yes. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Stroll and Alonso, 15th and 16th. Aston Martin showed so much promise. I mean, not this year, but last year. Liam Lawson out of the race. Bortoletto out of the race. Ollie Behrman out of the race. Jack Doohan out of the race. Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso, the two Aston Martins, down in the last positions. Very sad to see. Razor994 says, Dan, have you tried the Reef Tip Rum? I have not. I've never even heard of this beast. But we do know I love my rum, especially Captain Morgan's. Reef Tip Rum, huh? Mr. Pengui. Mr. Pengui? YT? Albon Pole would go hard. It would be very cool to see Williams back on pole, wouldn't it? Very nice indeed. Ah, yes. 7:10 in the morning here in Brisbane, Australia. Cheering on Oscar Piastri. Ice cold beer in hand. I mean, it's never too early for a beer, right? The Aussie way. And it is our future world champion, Oscar Piastri, cruising in the lead at the moment. Lando Norris is making up some ground. Molly, it's 10 at night for you. Very nice. One side of the world, the day is coming to an end. Another side of the world, the day is just beginning. And what a start to the day it is. Oh, by the way, a penalty confirmed for Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda, currently down in 10th place, does have a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Happy Labor Day. Yes, that's right. It is a public holiday. I'd completely forgotten about that. Lap 44 of 57. Sam 13 says, do you think Max should have gotten a penalty for lap 1 Norris incident? Okay, I'll be perfectly honest. Anyone who's been here before on the Wasted World of Sports knows that I hate Red Bull and I can't stand Max Verstappen. So my opinion might be a little bit biased. But I'm saying yes. I'm saying Max Verstappen should get penalties all the time. Constantly. For some of what he does out there on the track. But that's just me. Oh, the button. Ahoy, mate. Am I glad that I woke up for this? Yes, I am. I'm so happy. And that is not just the beers talking. By the way, oh, the button. I just found out it's a public holiday. What are you up to? Should we do some Intoxigamer filming? If you're not up to anything. All good. If not, as I said, I only just found out. When you don't work a standard 9-to-5 job, you have no idea when a public holiday is and isn't. It is Piastri from Norris, from Russell, lap 45 of 57. Verstappen is closing in on George Russell. So I'm just wondering if those medium compound tires are just starting to fall away at the back end of the race here. Everybody else around him on the hards. Dylan asks how the McLarens are so far ahead. Look, let's be honest. There was a little bit of, well, let's not even call it luck. It was just brilliantly executed strategy. There was a virtual safety car, and yes, the virtual safety car helped them out because they were able to double stack and essentially get a free pit stop. Max Verstappen had jumped into the pit lane a couple of laps prior, and he pitted under normal race conditions. Piastri had already claimed the lead by this point, and Norris had already claimed second. So Red Bull were trying to do something a little bit different. They pulled the pin early and pitted. And then a few laps later, a virtual safety car, and McLaren said, thank you, double stacked. They got a free pit stop under the virtual safety car. Both drivers came out in first and second. George Russell also pitted under the virtual safety car and came out ahead of Max Verstappen in third place. But yes, Verstappen has got the foot down now. And I just wonder, those medium tires seem to be falling apart. And Russell will do very well here to hold off this late challenge of Max Verstappen. And I tell you what, Lando Norris is taking chunks out of Oscar Piastri at the front. But I would dare say that Oscar is just doing a little bit of tire management out there at the front, harvesting some battery, because you never know what might happen. So, yeah, I think it's a combination of Norris pushing and Piastri just holding back a little bit. Should Norris get within any sort of contestable distance, you'll see Piastri go back to driving at full pace. But this is the one to keep an eye on as we're in lap 47 of 57. This is the one to keep an eye on. Max Verstappen is closing in on George Russell. Russell went for the medium compound because he started on the hards, of course. Went for the medium compound to end the race as he had to. And Verstappen on the hard, it seems like that medium tire is just tearing up a lot quicker than the hards. And Verstappen is closing in with 10 laps to go. Just 1.5 seconds behind now. And that's the other thing too, yes, as Dylan rightfully brings up, the McLarens have got back markers coming up, and that's perhaps slowing Oscar down a little bit as well as he navigates his way through those. He may re-extend that lead when Norris also has to contend with them. Piastri at the moment in behind Alonso, closing in on him, and Norris has got some free track ahead of him for the time being. Piastri now down the bottom of the track here. Piastri should be able to catch up and go past Alonso on the main straight. He's right on his tail now. We're on board at the moment with one of the Ferraris. Razor994 says, should Hamilton be forced to give back position to Leclerc if he can't get any closer to Antonelli at the end of the race? I mean, probably yes, but the fact that they being Ferrari, the fact that they fluffed Lewis around so badly initially, I say make him fight for it. And Charles Leclerc should definitely breeze past. Hey, Gordon Ramsay, there in the pit lane. I mean, honestly, I can't understand why Ferrari put Hamilton on the medium tire just to have him fall into line behind Leclerc. It makes no sense. Why put a driver out there on a faster compound to just go, no, mate, hold position? Makes no sense to me. But honestly, pretty much nothing Ferrari have done in the last 4 years has made sense to me, quite honestly. Lap 49 of 57. We are closing in on the end now. Leclerc within DRS range of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Be interesting to see what they do there. Sander C. What happened to Verstappen? Well, quite honestly, initially, Max Verstappen just got outdriven by Oscar Piastri. Piastri fought himself within DRS range, put so much pressure on Max, forced him into a mistake. Verstappen went too hard into turn one whilst trying to defend. Locked up and went off track. Not at the start of the race, by the way. Max was comfortably in the lead for the first opening laps. But once Oscar got within DRS range, he put a lot of pressure on Max. Max came up with a mistake, locked up and went off track, going too hard into the corner, and he just never really recovered. And then McLaren got the free pit stop under the virtual safety car, and it was pretty much race over at that point. George Russell as well got the free pit stop under the virtual safety car, which forced Verstappen down into fourth spot. Chloe says, do you bet on the races? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. I had a trifecta on this one. Verstappen, Piastri, and Norris for the podium in any order. It looks like I'm going to fall just short of that one, as Russell is just maintaining that 1.5 second lead over Max. So it looks like I'm going to cop an L on that one. Sander C says Leclerc's spot is painful. Ferrari's painful. Let's be honest. Ferrari have goofed up with their strategy again for about the billionth time in the last 4 or 5 seasons. Dylan says Russell is doing well. Absolutely, he is. Trusty. Missed the start. How is P3 so far behind? Okay, long story as short as possible. There was a virtual safety car. Let's ignore everything else that happened at the start. Basically, there was a virtual safety car which gave McLaren an opportunity to double stack their pit stop under the virtual safety car. And that's how they have maintained such a huge lead out at the front. Verstappen pitted earlier under normal race conditions. Russell, who was already very far behind, pitted under the virtual safety car as well. So that's how he ended up ahead of Verstappen. But that's why that gap out in front is so big. Since the pit stops, after the pit stops, I believe the McLarens were 21 seconds ahead of Russell. So, from the pit stops until now, they have opened up a 10-second lead, which is a little bit more of a realistic gap. It's exaggerated, as I said, because of the double stack under the virtual safety car. Sander C says Tsunoda kind of falling behind too, and Tsunoda's got a penalty incoming as well. Let's not forget, Yuki Tsunoda has a penalty coming at the end of the race. And Hamilton has now been told swap positions. Let's see if he obeys this team order. Hamilton has been told to swap positions? Or does Hamilton say, look, you guys messed me about for a few laps before you let me pass on the fresh mediums, so I'm not going to play ball for the next couple of laps. Let's see. Do they make the swap? Hamilton's not slowing down. Hamilton is not going to give this up easily. And honestly, nor should he. Nor should he. Ferrari have completely cocked this up, as Ferrari do. If they had have put Hamilton through when he was on the fresh mediums much earlier, allowed him to pass earlier than he did, maybe he'd be a bit happier to play ball right now. Hamilton's holding forward at the moment. Leclerc's on the radio. Try again next lap, they say. And there's a... there we go. They swap positions. Hamilton gets out of the way, and Leclerc goes through. Ferrari have done the switch. Ferrari have absolutely ballsed this up, I'm not going to lie. Razor994 saying that Hamilton and Leclerc will be spicy in the post-match interviews. And I've got to say, understandably so. Ferrari have absolutely ballsed this up. And it's looking like this will be our finishing race order. Lap 53 of 57. It's Piastri, 4 seconds from Norris, 32 seconds from George Russell, who's a further 1.5 from Max Verstappen, and 9 seconds from Alexander Albon in 5th. Round of applause for Alex Albon. How nice is it to see the Williams that high up on the grid? And yes, for Ferrari, honestly, Ferrari will have to have a serious review at the end of this race. And they've got to work out what they want to do. Srushti says, I love Alex. He's so likable. One of the funniest post-race interviews was Max. What race was it? Max got the penalty. Max got a penalty, which he claims cost him the race. It might have been last race weekend. Oscar Piastri won, and Max got the penalty. And they did a post-race interview with Alexander Albon, and Albon was all excited because he's like, oh, I'm actually flying back with Max in the private jet after this. So, yeah, that's exciting. And the interviewer said to him, well, do you think Max will be okay after the penalty? And he didn't know what it was all about. He's like, oh, what penalty? What's this about? Oh, Max got a penalty which forced him into second place. And he feels that he probably would have won without the penalty. Ah, I didn't know that, says Albon. I didn't know that. Right. Yeah, I might just go to bed on the plane then. Yes, you got to love Alex Albon. Toby asks, what is going on with Ferrari? Oh, the problems with Ferrari this race anyway, I mean, look, they were never in the fight for the win. But Hamilton started on the hard tyre, so obviously he was going to switch to mediums. Leclerc started the race on mediums, so obviously he was going to switch to the hard tyre. Now, Ferrari probably never expected a scenario where the drivers would end up right behind each other. But still, common sense, right? Look, I'm not an expert. I'm not a race strategist. I'm not a team principal, although I do play one on F1 Manager. But I digress. I don't claim to be an expert in any of this stuff at all. I'm not. I'm just some schlub on social media who watches the races. But doesn't it make sense if you've got a driver, if you end up in the position, whether you planned it or not, if you end up in a position where you've got your two drivers right behind one another or one in front of the other, does it not make sense that you just go, hey, look, Lewis is on the faster compound, the fresh mediums, let him through. We can switch it back at the end if the situation arises. But no, Ferrari sit on it for about 4 laps. Lewis chews through his fresh mediums, sitting in the dirty air behind his teammate, whilst Ferrari are having a cup of tea in the pit lane. They finally let Lewis through. Lewis goes, oh, well, thank you, at last. Crazy. Crazy stuff. Honestly, Ferrari are just their own worst enemy. Their own worst enemy. Anyway, Red Bull have just been on the radio to Max Verstappen saying, stay within 5 seconds of Russell. Russell, of course, is under investigation for not lifting, supposedly, during the yellow flags. He did, of course, but they are saying, just in case of a penalty, to make sure that Verstappen stays within 5 seconds of George Russell. There will be no penalty incoming for George, I dare say, and Piastri, with 1 lap to go, or 2 laps to go now, 56 to 57, very comfortably holding on to a 4-second lead. Lando Norris has set the fastest lap of the race, though. And here we go. Oscar Piastri, the Aussie boy, here in Australia, here in Brisbane, Australia, 7:30 a.m. This was worth getting up for. Oscar Piastri to extend his lead in the World Championship. The Aussie boy on the last lap, coming through for the checkered flag. Sorry, I'm looking around for a shoe. I reckon it deserves a shoey. Lap 57 of 57. Razor 994 says, Oscar, driver of the day, surely. Stroll, overtake of the day on the 4 DNF cars. Oscar Piastri, driver of the day. Alex Albon maybe as well. I do wonder how much Alex Albon benefited from the virtual safety car as well. I can't recall where he was when that virtual safety car got deployed as to how much of an impact it had on him. But Oscar Piastri from 4th on the grid to race winner by 4.5 seconds comes through now for the checkered flag. The Aussie boy, the McLaren boy, Oscar Piastri is your 2025 Miami Grand Prix winner. Lando Norris gets the checkered flag in second. It's a McLaren 1-2. And George Russell, extending his lead on Max Verstappen, claims a podium spot. Piastri, Norris, Russell, and Verstappen in 4th. Alex Albon in 5th. Lance Stroll in last place. Be right back. Razor994 says stoked for McLaren and for Williams. Stoked for Oscar Piastri. How good is it, honestly, to see an Aussie boy leading the World Drivers' Championship? Oscar's the man. You reckon? Oh, here's a question for the chat room. Do we reckon Lando might end up leaving McLaren at some point? I reckon that this would be an interesting grid shake-up, wouldn't it? Max Verstappen chucks the shits and retires from Formula One racing. Lando Norris gets pinched by Red Bull. George Russell comes into that second McLaren. No, George Russell wouldn't come over to the McLaren. Sainz says that Hamilton moved a bit under braking. Oh, hey, let's not forget 2026 new regulations. Adrian Newey, Aston Martin. I'm so focused on 2025. I had forgotten about that. New regulations, Adrian Newey at Aston Martin. Yeah. Sophie, ahoy Sophie. What team do I support? I don't really support a team, to be honest. As an Aussie boy, I've obviously got a lot of love for Oscar Piastri. Love the Australian flag there on the top of his helmet as well, by the way. Big fan of Oscar Piastri, of course. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I really have a favorite team. I've got a most disliked team. I don't support one team or the other, but I've got a team that I never want to see win, and that's Red Bull. Every time Red Bull lose, the rest of the world wins, is what I say. And the rest of the world is a winner today as McLaren go 1-2 and Verstappen can't even make podium. I'll drink to that. Welcome along, everybody. Anyways, for those who are just joining me for the very first time here on the Wasted World of Sports, my name is Dan. Very nice to have you along, joining me here for this race. We do watch-alongs and alternative commentary for Formula One, for Rugby League, for Rugby Union, and some cricket. So if you are into other sports, do feel free to chuck us a follow or a subscribe. We're live on YouTube, live on TikTok, live on Twitch, live on Facebook. And yeah, follow along, hang out, have some beers, and watch some sports here on the Wasted Water Sports. Cheers. Yes, indeed. 7:30 a.m. here in Brisbane, Australia. And I'll ask once again, I asked earlier, I'll ask once again, how many Aussies have we got repping the chat room right now? Aussies, let's hear you, because our boy Oscar Piastri has got the win. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. A McLaren 1-2. Oscar Piastri extends his lead in the World Drivers' Championship. Oh, the button says good result, good race. Well worth getting up bright and early for. I tell you what, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it because it's been a big weekend. We covered every single game of the NRL Magic Round this weekend. Every game. And I somehow found a way to drag myself up bright and early this morning. And I'm so glad that I did. Oscar Piastri getting the job done. Braden Cook, you're Aussie. Cheers, mate. Pretty one says, who are rookie drivers? Well, interestingly enough, I wouldn't necessarily call Liam Lawson a rookie anymore. But it's interesting. Look at the do not finishes. Jack Doohan, Ollie Behrman, Bortoletto, and Lawson, the 4 DNFs. I mean, Kimi Antonelli's a rookie for sure. He did well, up in 6th place. The Barton says, I wasn't sure if you'd make it either. I checked for a stream when the race started and couldn't find it. Oh, when the race started, you couldn't find it. Oh, that's weird. That's really weird. Interesting. Hopefully I've set it up correctly. I mean, YouTube has been a little quiet tonight. We've got 114 over on TikTok. Cheers for that. We've had quite a few filter through Twitch. I don't think YouTube ever cracked above 10 at some point, which is unusual. So, yeah, I hope I have it set up correctly. But anyway, not to worry. Oh, what does it mean? Not who are they? What does it mean? So a rookie driver is basically, this is like their first year driving a Formula One car, basically. It's their first year competing for the championship. That, I dare say, is the definition of a rookie driver. So Kimi Antonelli, for example, his first year in Formula One. Razor 994. So, oh my God. Razor 994 says, Oscar, don't give an F about the Bahrain owner in the back. Oh, he's not the only one. Hey, he is not the only one. It's funny seeing drivers give the cold shoulder to old mate, the FIA president. Man, that was great. McLaren 1-2. Oscar Piastri with the win. Bids04 says Verstappen cost Lando on lap 1. Yeah, that was just Max doing Max things, wasn't it? Verstappen getting forced wide. Norris getting forced wide. Norris getting forced wide by Verstappen. Oh, the Barton says, I hardly had my eyes open, though, so not much surprise. Fair enough, then. Fair enough. Yeah, Max, in turn 2, there was an incident. Norris going off track. That's what cost Lando so many positions. So Norris basically, at the end of lap 1, Norris had fallen all the way down into sixth place. So he did very well to put in a good drive and get himself up into second. This is brilliant, though. Honestly, a podium without Max is a beautiful thing indeed. Lando, I completely understand. Lando Norris doesn't want to sit down. He's like, I've been sitting down for like 2 hours, cramped up in a race car. I completely understand it. I, of course, stand up when I do these live streams. We sit down for so long, or we lay down for so long. It's always good to have a nice stand up. Always very, very nice. McLaren 1-2. Miami Grand Prix. coming to a close. You know what? I think I might take my leave. How many laps left? It's over. The race is over. Victory for Oscar Piastri. A McLaren 1-2. Piastri, Norris, Russell 1-2-3. Race result done and dusted. Fantastic stuff. Waste of Water Sports, thank you so much for joining me. As I said, if you're new to finding me here, thank you so much. My name's Dan. We cover Formula One, NRL, rugby union, and some cricket. Do feel free to give us a follow, a subscribe, whichever platform you're joining us on. We're live on YouTube, live on Twitch, live on TikTok, live on Facebook. Thank you so much. Formula One done for another week. Oscar Piastri, the Aussie boy, gets it done. We'll catch you next time. Thank you so much. Cheers.